Welcome to the Positive Pants Podcast. Mindset, motivation and inspiration to help you find your positive pants. Let go of negative thinking and stop living for the weekend. With your host, Fran Excel.
Welcome to the show. Thank you for joining me. I'm Fran Excel. If you're new here, I am a mindset coach and I am helping you find your very own pair of positive pants. And after my traumatic journey home today, I am talking about mindfulness. So what I want to talk about is mindfulness has become a bit of a buzzword in recent times. Even though it actually spans back thousands and thousands and thousands of years and has its roots in Buddhism, we've only just cottoned on to just how amazingly beneficial it is in all areas of life. So there's still so many people who are unwilling to give it a try and missing out on all its goodness in the process. So what I'm going to do today is break down what it is, some of the benefits you can expect, why it's good for your work, your business, and a few key ways to introduce it into your life. So the first question, is mindfulness woo-woo? In short, no. There is countless scientific evidence to show that mindfulness is actually hugely beneficial to our overall health and well-being. They have brain scans to show this stuff. It is based in fact. It's commonly used in positive psychology as well, which is known to be the science of happiness, and is an absolutely super stress buster. So mindfulness, what it does is it breaks through fear, stress, anxiety, and brings you back into the present. Because if you've been with me for a little while, you know I talk about the fact that fear only lives in the past and in the future. It doesn't live right here in the present, in the now, and mindfulness is a really, really key tool for pushing through fear for that very reason. So it literally increases the grey matter in your brain. Like, that's crazy, right? So it makes you more intelligent, it makes you more creative, it increases your ability to deal with the stuff that life throws at you. So it's a form of meditation. It's called mindful meditation. And a lot of people don't give it a go because they feel like they're doing it wrong. But I'm going to give you some really, really simple tools to use where you can start implementing this into your life. So if you're feeling really anxious, it can help bring your focus back to the present moment rather than ruminating on the past or worrying about the future. So the definition of mindfulness is that it's a mental state achieved by focusing one's awareness on the present moment while calmly acknowledging and accepting one's feelings, thoughts, bodily sensations, and it's commonly used as a therapeutic technique. So what it does is it allows us to listen to our inner and outer world in real time. It forces us to pay attention. It's literally the opposite of mindlessness, which is something that obviously in this modern era we deal with a little bit too often. So all those things that you do when you're sitting there and you're just scrolling through, and it's mindlessness, you know, it's autopilot, it's all those things where you don't have to think to do it. So what mindfulness does is it brings you back to the present, but it also wakes up the parts of the brain that you need for problem solving, creativity, all of these different things, resilience. So it is an amazing, amazing tool. The best bit, you only need to do it for a minute at a time to still feel the benefits. So what are the benefits? Okay, so mindfulness can decrease stress, increase awareness, increase in intelligence, your creativity, decreases anxiety and depression. It's commonly used for anxiety and depression, and that's how I got on to mindfulness, was when I was really struggling with anxiety and sleeping 3.5 hours a night if I was lucky and waking up with palpitations. Mindfulness was something that really, really helped me. It actually decreases pain, regulates your emotions, it increases your heart health and lowers your blood pressure, which is all to do with stress hormones, but I will do an entire other episode on stress. It slows down the aging process, but again, that is something I'm going to talk about when it comes to stress. It's all about what gets released into the body, but stress literally ages us. Mindfulness does the opposite, slows down that aging process. It gives you increased memory function as well, and more awareness, so that more of that sort of higher level brain functioning that you need. Less reactivity to emotions. So for example, if you follow me on Instagram, I did a little post this morning about what you can do if you're a commuter, and trying to find that empathy. But to do that, you need a little bit of a mindful moment. It also promotes well-being, obviously. It actually makes you less argumentative as well, because it allows that your brain that moment it needs to think before you react. And it also helps you sleep better and feel more in control. So I hear, okay, all right, Fran, I'm listening. What are the key benefits for my work or my business? Did you hear me mention it decreases stress? It massively aids burnout. So it will stop you getting to that burnout stage in the first place. It allows you to really take that step back, and reduce that fear and worry. All the millions of different fears and worries that come with starting a new job, building your business, side hustling with your new business, whatever it may be. You need to not have that focus on the fears and the worries. So it actually increases your resilience to that as well. And it also helps to take stock of that bigger picture. So if you have a bad day or whatever, it's not going to make you stop and be, oh my God, I'm going to quit everything. It's horrendous. So it makes you less reactive. Okay, so is everybody on board with that? So here is how to incorporate mindfulness into your day. Okay, there's 1,000 ways to be mindful. So I'm just going to give you a few of my favorites to start you off and see how you get on. So the first one is sensory awareness. This is a fun one. So the incredible thing about this is, I've mentioned this before, the fact that the brain doesn't associate what is daydreaming and visualization and reality. You feel the same physiological feelings, you sense the same senses, all of these different things happen in your brain. So even if you're just imagining something, the areas of those brains that's related to it. So for example, if I say to you, think about fresh baked bread, it actually activates the area of the brain that is responsible for your sense of smell. Or if you're thinking of an incredible sunset that you saw while you were on holiday, you'll activate the sensory part of the brain that's associated with visions, and all those feelings that you felt or you feel when you come across these things are actually there in that present moment. So in the moment, really look and notice what's around you. Turn on all your senses individually. Okay, so first, wherever you are, wherever you're listening to this, first turn out on your sight. What do you see? What do you see around you? Who's around you? What's around you? Try and pick out things that you haven't noticed before, that you wouldn't notice if you're rushing around. Then notice what sounds are around. What can you hear? What's happening around you? What can you hear? Then your smell. What can you smell? Is there something, is somebody's perfume? Can you smell somebody's shampoo? Whatever it may be, turn your sense of smell on to heighten what is not normally there, what you wouldn't normally notice. And then you can use touch. Where are your hands resting? What does your back feel against the seat that you're on? Your feet in your shoes? What does that feel like? And taste. Can you taste anything? Are you chewing gum? Can you taste mint? And do these in succession. It's one of my favorites. I absolutely love that one. Have a lot of fun with that one. So the next one is a body scan. So this one you can do standing up and you can do when you're out and about, but it is better when you're lying down. So body scan. So you lie down with your eyes closed. You start at the top of your head, and then you work all the way down to the tips of your toes. So you start with your head, and you go to your neck, your shoulders, your arms. Have you got any tension anywhere? Is there any way you need to relax? All of these different things go all the way through your body at each area from the top to the bottom. What do you feel? How does your clothing feel against your skin? Are you noticing any areas of pain? All of that sort of thing. So that is the body scan. Also a fun one. Next one's mindful breathing. So there are countless different mindful breathing techniques, but I'm going to teach you my favorite. So you may have heard me talk about this one before, but it really truly is my favorite one. I've used this to stave off pain when I'm in the tattoo parlor. Shh, don't tell my mother. Don't tell my mother. She took me for my first tattoo at 18. And things like when you're struggling with anxiety, if you feel panicked, or if you're having a tense conversation with someone, or or you're about to go live on Facebook, all those moments where you feel a little anxious and you need to bring yourself back to that present moment, breathing techniques are great. But this is called the 4-7-8-3. So you breathe in for a count of 4, hold for a count of 7, breathe out for a count of 8, and repeat that 3 times. So I'll repeat that. So it's in for a count of 4, hold for a count of 7, and breathe out for a count of 8, and repeat that 3 times. So that is really, really one of my favorite ones. Gratitude. You know, I love me some gratitude. So take a conscious moment to look around and actually appreciate all the things that you're grateful for that you might usually take for granted. A really good example of this was in the summer. I was walking through the fields with the dogs, and I was doing a little mindfulness while I was there, and I was like, all of a sudden I noticed this low hum. And this is when you're doing the sensory experience as well. This helps when you're turning on your hearing, and I could hear this low hum that I wouldn't normally notice, and that it made my sight switch on, and I was like, where is that humming coming from? And then I noticed there were all these huge bumblebees bouncing from flower to flower in the field, and it was absolutely amazing. It was like, I'll never forget it, because it's one of those things that you just take for granted and you don't even notice. So do that one. What things are you grateful for just in your general vicinity? What can you see, and what can you smell, and what can you taste that you are grateful for? So the next one is awareness. You know, I love to talk about awareness. So instead of doing everything on autopilot, make a really conscious effort to appreciate what you may actually take for granted. So for example, walking. What does the ground feel like under your feet? Which muscles are activated in your legs or in your torso? What are you doing? What do you notice about how you move? All of those sorts of things. You can do the same with eating, any activity that you do day to day that you could potentially take for granted. Just do this little technique, and it's amazing what you notice about yourself as well. And then the next one is take a mindful minute. Okay, so just take 60 seconds, even if you need to put it on your timer, on your phone or whatever. Take 60 seconds just to focus on your breathing or what's going around you. Literally just do it for a minute, because the more you do this, and if you can do this every day and turn it into a habit, then the world is your oyster. Life just gets better when you can appreciate it and when you can actually feel like you're living it. You know, there's a lot of things that we do going about our day to day, or especially if we're in a job that we don't like and we desperately want to get out, or whatever it may be. It's really, really tough in that moment, and you ruminate on conversations that you had or conversations that you're going to have in the future. There's no point doing it. Just take a minute and enjoy it. Yeah. So the last one is mental awareness. So observe your thoughts and feelings and get really, really curious about them. Curiosity and awareness together are a little powerhouse of improving your life. The more awareness that we can create, the more change we can bring about in our lives. So this allows us to react to heightened emotions in a much less reactive way and brings it into our consciousness. So when you make the subconscious conscious, that's when change happens. Okay, and awareness and curiosity are two of the biggest ways to get that done. So I hope that has been useful for you, and you're going to put some of these into practice today. And it really is a practice to get all the incredible benefits I've mentioned. You need to commit to this, even if it is just that minute per day. But I promise you, you really, really won't regret taking the time. 100%. I will see you next week.